Hey everybody, it's Robyn and welcome to my channel where I have this beautiful Harry Potter cake to share with all of you, complete with a golden drip, a magic wand, and a golden snitch. This is the perfect cake for your little wizard in training, so let's get right into it. So for today's cake, we're going to be using 3 birthday cake flavored layers of cake with rainbow sprinkles, which we first need to level out, and doesn't that look delicious? And we're also going to take that 3rd layer and flip that over and cut the caramelization off the other side of that as well, so we can use that as our middle layer. So to begin the stacking process, the first thing you're going to want to do is attach that first layer of cake to the cake board using a little bit of buttercream to act as a glue. Now, as you guys can see, I have filled 2 piping bags, one with a bit of a burgundy colored buttercream and the other with yellow, and we're going to use those to pipe stripes between each of our layers of cake to represent House Gryffindor. And although we aren't going to be cutting open this one, those stripes are going to look super cool when the cake is sliced open later on. Now once we finished stacking and filling these layers, it's time to add a nice thin coat of frosting, also known as a crumb coat, which I guess is pretty self-explanatory. It is a nice thin coat of icing to lock in all those crumbs. And alternatively, for a quicker, less mess approach, you can also apply this layer using a piping bag and then smooth it out with either an offset spatula or a bench scraper, or whichever tool you prefer. And once you get that all smoothed out, we're going to pop it into the fridge to chill for a little bit, and while we're waiting, we're going to work on some decorations. So the first one we're going to make is going to be Harry Potter's initials for the front of our cake. So taking a piece of gold fondant, I rolled this out to about 1/8 of an inch thick, and now I'm using my stencil and marking off the pattern using an X-Acto knife. And as you guys can see, that left a really nice pattern for us to follow. So using that same X-Acto knife, I'm just going to start carefully cutting away little pieces of fondant that we don't need. And while this isn't a super difficult design to cut out, I do feel it's important to mention this little tip that I like to use every time I cut out stuff like this. And that is, start at the center of your design, cut out any little holes that might be in the center first, and then work towards the outside, because that's going to help keep your fondant from stretching while you're cutting those little intricate pieces. And now we're just going to give this a little dry dust with some gold luster dust, which I will link in the description box below for anybody who is interested. And this is an affiliate link, guys. I do not get paid if you click, only if you buy. So if you do plan to buy, thank you guys so much. Okay, next up we are going to get a start on our little golden snitch. So as you guys can see, I have a little Rice Krispie treat here, and this is just a pre-made one to save a little bit of time. We're just going to mold this into a nice tight little circle and roll it until it's nice and smooth, and then we are going to stick this in the fridge for a little bit to let it firm up. So while we're waiting for our Rice Krispie treat to chill, we are going to prepare a piece of wafer paper for our golden snitch's wings. So wafer paper is actually quite fragile when you bend it, so we're going to have to use a conditioner to soften it and make it more pliable. So what we're going to do is take a mixture of 2 parts food grade alcohol and 1 part glycerin, and we're going to apply that to our wafer paper using a clean makeup sponge. And now once you've saturated 1 full side, we're going to take a soft fluffy brush and some cornstarch, and we're going to dust that all over our wafer paper until it's no longer sticky and is nice and satiny soft to the touch. So we're going to let our wafer paper dry for a minute. In the meantime, we're going to make some wafer paper glue. So I've cut up a piece of wafer paper into tiny little pieces, and I'm adding a few drops of our conditioner to that and mixing it all up, and we're going to set that off to the side and let it coagulate a little bit and turn into a bit of a gel. So while that is working its magic, we're going to take this little stencil that I've created and start cutting out the snitch's wings. So first off, we're going to start out with 2, 1 for each side, and we're just going to carefully cut these out using my X-Acto knife. Then once it's ready, we're going to take a small paintbrush and start to apply some glue. So I'm just going to brush a small amount across the top of the wing to attach a small wire, which I've already shaped as you guys can see. And then I'm going to finish covering the wing with glue, so that way we can flip it over and attach it to that leftover piece of wafer paper that we didn't use. And we're going to do that with both of our wings and give it a good press down. And I'm also going to use this little tool just to press that wafer paper together up against the wire to make sure when we cut this all out, everything stays together nice and secure. Now, once we've gotten both of our wings cut out, now we are going to add some frill. So this part's really easy. We're just going to take our X-Acto knife and we're going to cut a bunch of little strips all the way down the full length of both of our wings. Then we're going to dampen them ever so slightly with a little bit more conditioner, and then finally dust it with our gold luster dust. And you're going to need that conditioner on there first because it won't stick otherwise. So now that we finished our wings, we need to get that little Rice Krispie treat covered up so we can begin assembly on our golden snitch. So I'm just carefully wrapping a piece of golden colored fondant around my Rice Krispie treat and then snipping away any of that excess fondant we don't need before finally rolling it out on the table to make the finish on it nice and smooth. So now I'm going to take a Dresden tool, and this is my veining Dresden tool. It has a little pointy tip on either end. We're going to use this to carefully carve the design all over the body of our little golden snitch before finally finishing it off with two tiny little dots of fondant, and these are going to be where we insert the wings. But before we do, we need to give this little snitch its golden sheen. So we're going to use that same luster dust we used before, and we're just going to carefully dust it all over before inserting a toothpick into the bottom so we have a way to attach it to the cake, and then finally inserting the wings. And there you have it, guys. Didn't that turn out awesome? I think it looks great. I can't wait to see it on our cake. Alright, so we made our golden snitch and we made the little golden Harry Potter emblem for the front of our cake. We just need to make our magic wand, and then we will have all the decorations we need to put together a beautiful Harry Potter cake. So this part's pretty simple, so it should be really easy to recreate. So we're just going to roll out some really long snake shapes, and for the main body of the magic wand, we're going to make this one a little bit thicker, and it's also going to be tapered off on one end. Then we're going to take some longer, skinnier snake shapes, and we're going to wrap these around the wand and make it look like little vines are crawling up the sides. And now we're just going to give our wand a little roll to ensure all those vines are on there nice and secure, and then we're going to set that off to the side until it's dried up nice and firm. So while we're waiting for that, we're going to finish off the final layer of frosting on our cake. So as you can see, once again, I'm using a small offset spatula, and I'm just using that to slather on an extra thick layer of buttercream all over our cake. And you do want to make sure it is nice and thick because we're going to be scraping off quite a bit to make sure we get that surface nice and smooth. And I think I forgot to mention it at the beginning of the video, but for anybody who's interested in my easy American buttercream recipe, I will link that video in the description box below. So now we're going to grab our bench scraper, and holding it at an approximately 30 to 35 degree angle, we're going to continue to go around and around the outside of the cake until we're happy with how it looks. And you're going to want to make sure to wipe off your bench scraper in between each pass so that way you're not adding more buttercream back onto your cake and ruining your finish. And then we're just going to go ahead and clean up that top lip, then pop our cake into the fridge to firm up completely so we can add our gold drip. So I will leave a link down below to the recipe I used, but out of all my gold drip cakes so far, this one has definitely been my most successful to date. So I'm going to share what I did with you. So in the past, I've used vanilla extract, but I found it to be way too thin. And then I tried lemon extract, but I found it to be too thick. So I used both and found a happy medium. And as you guys can see, I think it turned out great, but you will want to play with your ratios a little bit and always try it on the side of a cup before you try it on the side of your cake. So if you like, you can leave it just as is. I think it looks great with the sharp edges and the gold drip coming off the side of the cake. But I'm going to go one step farther, and we're going to add some nice big buttercream mountains to the top of our cake. And we're going to create those using that same burgundy American buttercream in a piping bag using a 1M piping tip. And there you have it. Now we can add the rest of the decorations to our cake. So starting with our Harry Potter insignia first, we are going to pick the front of our cake, and we're going to put that front end center and just give it a little press to attach. And doesn't that look great? Now we're going to add our magic wand and our golden snitch. Then we're going to add one last final little pop of gold to finish off our cake. So using these little golden sugar sprinkles, we're going to add a nice fine little dust to the top of our mounds. But these weren't quite what I was looking for to finish it off, so we're also going to use some of these little golden confetti sprinkles to finish off that cake. And don't they look perfect, guys? I don't know about you, but I am so in love with this cake. The gold drip turned out amazing, and that little golden snitch was just so fun to make. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun recreating this cake. Well, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave us a like and a comment to let us know what you think, and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell if you'd like to see more epic bakes. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you for the next cake.